No. And the first question will go to Howard. Social Security and Medicare are bankrupt, and the new national health care legislation will bankrupt many small businesses and individuals. What would you do about these programs and why?
I'll get to you. Maybe I won't. Can everybody hear me okay? Hello? Oh, there we go. Sorry about that. First of all, on January the 14th, long before this latest monstrosity of nationalized health control takeover, I signed the Club for Growth's Repeal It Pledge. And that is, I pledge to work to repeal this national health control bill. If not, then do not fund it. If there is not enough voices in Congress to repeal it outright, I will work night and day to make sure that not one penny goes to funding that. Social Security and Medicare and Medicaid are responsible for about $110 trillion of unfunded liabilities right now. We have to totally restructure and reorganize all three of those. Of those three, Social Security is the smallest as far as the unfunded liabilities. But we have to start. This is where Representative Boren and myself differ greatly. He does not want to allow individuals control over their Social Security. I've heard him say that. We need to start allowing individuals control over that money that they have been putting into the Social Security system, a little bit at a time, 2% a year. Over 50 years, over 2 generations, we will completely wean Americans away from government controlling the Social Security. Our money, it is our money to begin with. Anytime you hear government money, always think our money. We must repeal health care or not fund it. Thank you.
I, too, signed the pledge, the Repeal It pledge, and I've been networking with Richmond Patriots in Virginia. That's where you've probably heard of Ken Cuccinelli, who's the Attorney General there, has made big news because he is making a big case about this. And the other was about Social Security. I'm a supporter of fair tax, as I mentioned, and the fair tax is one thing that if we can get that implemented is going to get rid of a lot of woes and help this country overnight. It's too much to go into, but it includes the promise of Social Security. That's something that we all, have earned and deserve, and the fair tax will not change that, but will enhance Social Security. Getting back to the health care bill and Ken Cuccinelli, I've only got 30 seconds, but quickly, and it all ties in with what I talked about earlier about this trial. But Ken Cuccinelli is going to work with the Richmond Patriots, people like myself and a person like Gino DeSimone, who is the independent running for governor there. And anyway, we've got evidence of voter fraud, and we're going to be taking the DNC and Nancy Pelosi illegally.
Soon after the President signed into law the health care package, I issued a statement saying that if elected and something had not already been done by the time the new Congress is seated in 2011, that I would author or co-sponsor legislation to repeal Obamacare. In terms of, for Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid, those programs, for Social Security and those type programs, we need to begin to wean Americans off of those programs, putting the money back into your pockets, allowing you to have the responsibility, require that you have the responsibility to take care of your money and to prepare for your future, your retirement. But the money needs to be put back into your pockets and not controlled by the government.
This question started out with the preface of Social Security and Medicare. I would just like to point out that Social Security and Medicare are completely unconstitutional. There is absolutely nothing in the Constitution that gives the Congress the authority to establish those entities in the first place. Having said that, they're here. We have to deal with them. What do we want to do about nationalized health care? Let's get real. We are very, very unlikely to be able to repeal it. So what we have to do is, number one, not fund any of it. Number two, go in there and pick it apart and weaken it as much as we possibly can. For instance, there is a line in there that says if you own a gun, it is a risk factor. That infringes upon your Second Amendment right to own a gun. So we have to look at the bill, or look at the law rather, piece by piece by piece, and find those things that are there and just chip away at it over time and not fund any of it. Thank you.
This next question will start with Mickey. If you win the primary in July, you will be going up against the Democratic incumbent Dan Boren in November. How has Dan Boren failed the people of the 2nd District of Oklahoma? How do your views differ from his? And how will you win over the votes of the Blue Dog Democrats?
Well, we all know Dan Boren voted 98% of the time with his party. The only reason he didn't vote for the health care bill and for cap and trade is because myself and the Tea Party movement and everybody that we could muster burned up the phone lines calling him, threatening him that he better not pass it. So when he's up there, you can cut my arms off and I'm not going to sign the bill, you know, and being all conservative and everything, we all know what he's really like. If I win the election and I'm up against him, I've already, sent him a number of challenges that he just keeps ignoring me. I've challenged him to a marksmanship contest. I shot a coyote at 200 yards, downed him dead on the spot. So I'm a good shot. Dan Boren's on the board of the NRA, so, with his gun background too. However, Dan Boren, whenever he talks about the Second Amendment rights, he never says anything in the context of the Constitution. It's always about hunting and target shooting and that sort of thing. So I'm kind of on his case and after him. He owes me this marksmanship contest. And as far as winning the Blue Dog Democrats, I live in a totally blue county, Ottawa County, up in the northeast corner, and I've got a lot of support around my home base there by the Democrats who understand that this president and this administration is severely hurting our country.
Boren has failed the citizens of the 2nd Congressional District first and foremost because he has supported not once, not twice, but 3 times Nancy Pelosi as Speaker of the House. That is something that I have not found to date anyone in this district supporting. How do I differ? Well, I differ drastically in that respect. Also, I differ because I believe in a limited, restricted government. Government is not the solution. Many times it is the problem. I believe in greater personal responsibility, and I believe in the people. I believe in representing the people and being here among you. How do we win the Blue Dog vote, Democrat vote? Well, it's something that we are doing in the polling currently, because we are polling extremely well against the incumbent. We win it because we go out and we talk to the people, we listen to the people, we represent their ideas. The only way you can represent someone is if you listen to them, and that's what we plan to do.
Dan Boren has done a number of atrocities, the worst probably being voting for Nancy Pelosi 3 times. No one here in the 2nd District wants Nancy Pelosi as Speaker of the House, but he continually votes for that. He also voted for the stimulus package. What most folks don't know is that in the stimulus package, part of that money went to the pornography industry. And if that weren't bad enough, the money that went to the pornography industry went to the homosexual pornography industry. And the reason that Dan Boren did not know this is because he didn't bother to read the bill. Now, he did vote against, I'm mixing 2 things. He didn't bother to read the bill. He didn't see what was in there. Now, if he had, would he have represented the people? Now let's switch to the health care. He knew that 83% of his district did not want nationalized health care. He knew that 83% of his district was against the bill as it was written. So he voted against it. But what did he do during that entire 12 hours of debate? He sat on his hands, did absolutely nothing. Now let's think about what his title is. Representative. He did not represent the people of eastern Oklahoma. How do we win the Blue Dogs? By being consistent and conservative. Thank you.